A warm welcome to everyone to our first ever customer webinar called From Strategy to Action, Decarbonizing Your Logistics with DHL Freight. My name is Melanie and I'm part of the global sales team, and I will be your moderator today and also read out the Q&A later. If we can move to the next slide, there's a few housekeeping rules we would like to share with you. As you might have seen, you are all muted. As we expect quite some participants, that's to ensure that the call is pleasant for everyone. You can also not unmute yourself. There is, though, a chat function where you can ask all your questions. And actually, there's two functions. One function for questions, which only we as the moderators can see. So feel free to ask any question you have during the presentation, and I will collect those and read them out at the end. And then you have a normal chat function where you can direct messages also only to us or to everyone in the room. Please note the session will be recorded. Now, let's get into it. We do have two speakers with us today, where one is Dr. Antje Huber, who's our SVP Strategy, Marketing and Staff DHL Freight. She's also a Freight Management Board member, so I'm very happy to have her with us today. And I will hand over to you, Antje, to then introduce also our second speaker.
Hi, Melanie, and thanks a lot for the nice introduction. Yeah, I have with me today Christoph from the GoGreen part of DHL Freight. He's heading the GoGreen team and is also with me today. So hi, Christoph.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here.
So we have quite some agenda for you. I think that will be the first webinar in hopefully a big round of further webinars where we can also have more deep dives on certain topics. But for us today, it's like an introduction to you, our customers. And we have three topics with us. Want to show you a bit of our recent like achievements, some market developments, our strategic targets as group as such, and then dig a bit deeper into DHL Freight. So DHL Freight is the road transportation part of DHL Group. And we want to show you a bit what we plan with our technology roadmap, how we want to, or how we are currently implementing it, and then also how you can contribute or participate in that journey, and also that we jointly decarbonize your logistics needs. So, Christoph, you are quite a while with DHL Group already, and I know that you actually can tell the round here a bit what DHL Group has already done, because it's quite a history on decarbonization already, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I mean, we are a company as DHL with a long history. We don't only claim that we invented logistics, being the first ones in 1815 to offer that, and also invented the express parcel and document business later in the 20th century. But we also dealing with GoGreen for quite a long while, and officially in 2008, the program with this name GoGreen was launched already. Soon after, we saw that we needed to decarbonize our deliveries with electric vehicles, and we had talks to the manufacturers, and they were all a bit hesitant, which actually led us to develop our own electric delivery van for a time. Luckily, this is no longer necessary today. So we have 42,000 electric vehicles already in our fleet worldwide, most of them vans today. But as I said, it started in 2015. Then in 2016, there was another milestone. We had set ourselves a target to reduce emissions by 30% compared to the base year 2009. And we achieved that already in 2016, so 4 years early. And this was also a motivation for us to go ahead with a new strategy that we called Mission 2050 in 2017. That was actually a moment when we were the first global logistics player to introduce a zero emissions target. So really proud to have that target to completely eliminate all emissions and to be in line with the science-based target or the Paris process, in which the world community has actually agreed to limit global warming to 2 degrees or better 1.5 degrees. So to have really our fair contribution. In 2021, there was another big milestone. It's called GoGreen Plus, which is a book and claim insetting offering. You will hear more about that in our third agenda point, allowing customers to decarbonize together with us in a very simple way. It also later won awards, like in the World Economic Forum in 2025, has been around for quite some time now and is an established service offering. So happy to tell you more about it a bit later. In 2022, we embarked on the so-called science-based target initiative, according to which our zero emission target in 2050, but also the intermediate targets by 2030 for scope 3 and for scope 1 and 2 have been validated and also later approved by this kind of organization that drives this Paris-based process since 2017. In 2024, we launched the strategy 2030 as DHL Group, and we will hear in a moment what role green logistics plays there. And then, of course, the journey continues with incremental and bigger achievements. So like this year, we further improved our scoring on EcoVadis. Of course, we are rated by a number of agencies, and we are very happy that we also convinced them and proved to them about our progress. So now, Antje, I think you will reveal to us the DHL strategy and the role that logistics plays.
Quite a great journey already. So coming to strategy. So the one or the other might have heard that already, but DHL Group, like in the strategy 2030, launched a fourth bottom line. You can see that like here on that page, so it's green logistics of choice, and actually that's now embedded in all business units. Our target is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 29 million metric tons by 2030. We heard already that our target is by 2050 to become net zero emissions. And we want to be the front runner in low carbon logistics, want to have the best commercial offer in the industry, and want to be your trusted partner in actually implementing green solutions. And for the road transportation, so the part we are heading, our target is we want to electrify 66% of our last mile delivery vehicles by 2030. And our heavy duty truck fleet, we want to grow with sustainable fuels and electrification share to 30% by 2030. And if you look into that, that is of course that are big, bold targets, and as a company that cannot be handled alone. So we need everyone on board, and it's exercise we all need to collaborate. So first of all, climate change is something, if we do only something, that is not will not be beneficial. So we saw that also a lot of other companies joined in the SBTi approved emission reduction targets, more than 6,500 we have currently seen. So that is, of course, a lot of them are also customers of ours and prioritizing sustainability. We see then, besides that, a regulatory push as well. So governments really look into that and implement stricter regulations. Corporate responsibility, I said that already. So a lot of companies really look into that. They want to meet stakeholder expectations as well, and really contact us. How can we do that journey together? We see a lot of technology development as well, especially lately in the last year. I think all OEMs, all automotive companies did a lot to really support that journey. There are a lot of sustainable solutions available. So a lot of those technologies are accessible already. cost effectiveness that is sometimes still an issue because the journey only started, but it's great to see what's happening here. And then last but not least, we see a lot of partnerships growing as well. So we are also partnering with a lot of companies and initiatives to achieving progress in our journey and saving emissions. So in the end, that's a journey. We can only work on climate change together. And I think that's also the reason why you're today in that call, because you want to do that together with us and learn what we can offer. So if we look now into a bit of the road freight part and what DHL Freight is doing and what's our plan and how we are implementing it, one first could say that this is a difficult exercise because in the end we see a lot of challenges in overland transportation, and the one or the other might not be that familiar with road transportation. That's why let me actually tell you some of that issues and challenges we currently see. So first of all, we see a lot of small suppliers in the market. So if you look into sustainable fuel, so it's really a lot of tiny things happening in all the different countries. When we talk globally, it's even more severe, but we as DHL Freight are acting in being active in Europe. That's already quite a challenge. We also see a high complexity. So in the end, it's also a lot of knowledge we need to build when discussing that topics with our partners, with suppliers, but also with customers. And of course, a lot of our like drivers and subcontractors ask themselves, why not only continue with diesel is much more easier. Talking about subcontractors, so DHL Freight is mainly acting as an asset-light company. So we are working together with a lot of subcontractors, and that is usually also the case in a lot of transportation and most of the transportation sectors. So you really have a topic where you need to tell the subcontractors or the partners about the learnings and exchange that. Then we see a crucial role as infrastructure, fueling and charging, especially if we talk about like electrifying trucks. The infrastructure is of course not as existing as it should be. So the question here is also how to build up infrastructure, how to actually take care of the electrification. So is everything available on the premises, or where do I get like the energy sourced from, and then at what costs? Yeah, currently, as I said, there are higher costs, so we see investment hurdles, and that is also something we are then discussing with providers and how to get that a bit down going forward. And then of course it's a wide range of technical options. We saw that already in the beginning when we started all that discussions, like 6 years back, discussed that with the OEM. So we got also the question, so what will you use in the future? Is it then BEV truck? Is it LNG, CNG? Sustainable fuels, what should we offer to you, or even hydrogen? And then we started with looking into that topic, and I think we so far have quite a good plan for that, detailed that down, and that is something Christoph will tell you about, the technical options and our plan going forward.
Yeah, thank you, Antje. So picking up on that topic of the different technological options, so which one to choose, how to move forward, that's actually the core of what we call the technology roadmap that we developed at DHL Freight. You see here 3 kind of time horizons: short term, rather mid-term, long-term, more strategic. You also see on the lines above that it starts with burn less and it goes on to burn clean later. I'll mention that again in a moment. But let's start with the short term. So of course, we as a logistics company, it's our core business to optimize transportation and to do it in the most efficient way. And we do this, of course, today with load optimization, with route optimization, very much aided with digital transport planning, partly AI, of course. So these optimization tools help us to further improve on that area. And of course, the more you can consolidate shipments, the better the routes are designed, the less fuel you need to transport the goods. We also have minimum standards for trucks and trailers, meaning that, of course, we go for low rolling resistance tires. We have idle cutoff in trucks and all these kind of things, which help us to save another 1 or 2 or 3%, depending on the technology. It's very important to know that we continue with that. Aerodynamics is also in that area, of course. Road trains, meaning quite large trucks, which are, for example, operated a lot in Scandinavia. Mega trailers, which have very high volumetric load volumes and are possible if the loads are not that heavy and used in certain industries. So we are applying this wherever possible. And of course, we are also offering rail and intermodal transportation. So you can put a truck also on, or the trailer on a rail wagon, which makes sense, especially when you have quite long distances to cover. So that's definitely also an option that we have in our portfolio. And now we come to the point of burn less. So all this allows us, of course, to reduce the fuels that we need, but it will never bring us close to anywhere of zero. So that's why we need to go towards that burn clean technologies and to look into the real drivers of change. And here we have the low emission technologies. So we actually see a wide range of possibilities that are all employed, used today. So we are very open in the technologies. I think we actually need currently everything that is available to decarbonize. There's not one technology due to the infrastructure restrictions, due to availability in different markets, also worldwide, that would allow us already to come close to the decarbonization target that we need. You remember the 30% green fuel target that we have until 2030. So let me go through them. There's first the biomethane, the biogas, which can be liquefied or compressed. And there are actually trucks with different engines that allow to burn these fuels. So we operate them. We have a number of use cases in which this can be quite attractive. There's also the renewable diesel, the HVO, which is a fuel that is very, very similar to fossil diesel in its qualities. So it can actually be used in the normal engine and just a typical diesel vehicle that is already in place, which of course makes it a quite easy to apply solution and one that has grown tremendously over the past years, even though we have already used it for more than 10 years in some markets. Has become widely available now and is definitely also a step to accelerate decarbonization very fast. These technologies are actually called low emission as opposed to zero emission. So both the biogas and the HVO don't get us to zero, but they get us to less than 20% remaining emissions, which is due to the fact that for the production of the biofuels, there's also a bit of energy required that, of course, is factored into the calculation. Yeah. Still, I think a saving of 80% with each use case is already quite good. But we go beyond that. So on the bottom, you see battery electric. It's actually coming. I will mention in a moment the pilots and the projects that we have already launched. So it's trucks that run on electric engine. We have seen a good development on the passenger cars. We have also seen that in the vans, just reiterating the point that we have more than 40,000 electric vans worldwide already operating for us. It's a bit more challenging for the heavy duty trucks, but we have started. And that's actually considered really a very promising technology, provided that the infrastructure is existing. And then there's something that you might not yet know, which is called battery electric with range extender. It's actually also a quite interesting technology that can help to overcome, especially in the early days of electric trucks, can overcome the situation that sometimes there's not a possibility to charge the truck where you would need to, or there is one but it doesn't work, or you get an urgent customer request to deliver to another location that is 100 kilometers further that you had not planned, or you find really bad weather conditions, meaning that the distance that you had been covered usually with no problem now gets really tight. And that's why this solution has been developed, in which you have these slots in the trucks where you have batteries, and one of these batteries has been replaced by a little generator that allows to operate, for example, on HVO or on fossil diesel if it's not available, and can generate additional electricity that helps you to run, if necessary, a bit further than what was planned. We will have a use case on the next slide in a moment, so we can go into that a bit more. It's definitely a very, very promising and interesting technology that we also have driven actively as DHL, that can help to overcome the challenges in the early phase of electrification. Also mentioning here the bubble toll exemption in some countries. Of course, it's very important that there's also support from governments through different aspects of regulation, especially in different countries like Germany. We have a lot of support here that the diesel trucks pay quite a high toll. It has been more or less doubled about a year ago, and of course this is also helping that battery electric trucks, so zero emission vehicles, do not pay the toll, helping to overcome the cost and investment barriers that Antje spoke about. Just looking on the long-term solutions, so what is really zero emission? What is the future? There are two technologies around, basically. One is battery electric. I mentioned it in depth, but also the green hydrogen might play a role in the future. It can be used in a fuel cell that generates electricity again, helping to drive an electric engine. It's currently not considered to be the main technology also in the future for road transportation. On the other hand, it's definitely one that is still around, that we are also testing and could play a role with certain use cases. I'm always saying, like in remote areas where you don't have electric infrastructure, it may play a bigger role, and for certain special use cases as well. Yeah, so that's how we structure the landscape. I think it gives us a lot of clarity on what we focus on currently and what the future will look like. But we don't only look at this as a strategy or a roadmap. We also have started implementing it. And we actually brought a couple of examples here, and they are really just selected. The key message is we already have more than 1,500 low or zero emission trucks that operate with our network. Here are a few examples. So the e-Actros 600 from Mercedes is one of the battery electric trucks that are already around. Of course, we are very open with the different manufacturers. It doesn't mean that we only use Mercedes here. But that one is already operating with a number of cases with us, has a good range. Yeah, so I mean, you always have this topic of range anxiety when talking about electrification on the road. Some know it from the passenger cars. But here it's really around 500 kilometers, so this is proven in practice, meaning that it can cover already quite some distances and some routes in our network. Yeah, in that sense, definitely the way forward that we will further extend. As said, we are also looking into the other technologies. So we have one use case in France, for example, where we use renewable gas, CNG, in Iveco trucks that we actually operate since 2024. They replaced former diesel trucks, also working quite well in practice. Then about this EREV, as we nickname it, extended range electric vehicle, that's the range extender that I mentioned. Let me go on that one for a second again. It's actually a development, so a prototype currently from Scania that we have been involved in the development as DHL. So there are actually patents that we share with Scania on that one. And it has been tested. It has been introduced in February this year, already operating quite successfully, meaning that we had it operating thousands of kilometers between Berlin and Hamburg. And during that test, it was actually proven that there's more than 90%, so precisely around 92%, that it runs on the batteries, on the renewable electricity. And only in about 8% it was necessary to use the fuel for the range extender. Yeah, allowing us obviously to carry lots of parcels on that lane. Whether this will become a bigger option in the future will actually depend a lot on the regulation. So currently this type of vehicle is not counted in for the zero emission targets that the manufacturers, the OEMs, have on an EU level. So they need to convert their fleet by 2030. More than 30% need to be zero emission of what is sold. And this is currently not counted. So it actually shows that this kind of technology will depend a lot on the support from politicians. And of course, we are hoping that we will have the necessary tailwind on that end as well. The renewable HVO, it's actually a very big technology for us in the sense that we have literally hundreds of trucks, both in Sweden and Germany, that are already operating on a regular basis with this renewable diesel, allowing us, of course, to scale decarbonization a lot already now when, for example, the electrification is still limited due to the infrastructure issues. And last not least, we are also involved in hydrogen projects. So that's more on the research side and the test side. But definitely we had, for example, 2 trucks in Cologne for deliveries that we tested and worked quite well. And currently we are working with 2 tractor units in Saxony and Bavaria in Germany in a research project called H2 Haul. And of course, more to come on that area as well. And now, Antje, I think you'll give us an overview of what.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of interesting technology topics, and we definitely can deep dive on the one or the other topic in more detail in the next webinars. But this is an introduction webinar, and then of course you are interested how you as our customers contribute in that journey and really participate in the emission reduction in the future for your road freight transportation. So we have basically 3 levers how to participate in that road to decarbonization. So first of all, I think it always starts with getting transparency. So what we can offer you is the carbon reports and the consultation, so we can support you in actually deriving the right plan for your decarbonization journey with us together. And for that, I think it's also first important to get some clarity on the CO2 reduction target for your company. Then secondly, we offer an insetting solution. Christoph mentioned that already in the first chart when he talked about the journey of DHL Group in GoGreen perspective. So we will tell you a bit more what's behind it, because for us it's an easy solution we can offer you, and it's a bit like about how we can reduce emission in an easy way. And then the third topic is going green and the customized solution we can offer you and our customers going forward, and then have a specialized solution especially for your team. So if you are interested in certain technology, we can also find a solution for you. So that's basically the three levers, and with that I hand over to Christoph to explain in more detail the insetting and what's behind it.
Exactly. So GoGreen Plus, this stands for insetting at DHL. So you may wonder what this is now in detail, but I always like this analogy with green electricity. So green electricity has been around for very long in many markets. You do a contract with your utility company, and basically you agree that you get green electricity, as it's called, and you pay a little bit more. The electrons that go into your household or into your company, they will still come physically from the next power plant, which might be a coal plant. But the utility company guarantees that the overall electricity amount in the market will be reduced according to your consumption. So the amount of gray electricity will be reduced as much as you consume based on your contract. And this will be replaced by green electricity, so by renewable wind or solar power. And we have actually transferred exactly that principle on road transportation, also on other transportation modes, but let's take today the example of road freight. So you do the usual transport, so the sum of the shipments in a certain month, they may still generate 5 tons of carbon emissions. And the trucks that do the pickup at a certain customer who has booked that service may actually still be the usual diesel ones. However, we have this insetting pool in which we compare this, or take the emissions away in a way by allocating the savings that we have from our green fleet. So this allows, on a tank-to-wheel basis, to actually reduce emissions by around 100% if customers book the so-called GoGreen Plus premium service. It allows us to deploy the technologies where it's useful, where it's possible in our network, where it's not too expensive. And of course, this is a big enabler to drive the decarbonization in our industry. Of course, all this is not just mathematics, it's according to market standards, and it's also externally verified. So let's look at, on the next slide, on a bit more detail. I mentioned already that we have 1,500 green, we look first at the process. Antje, perhaps on page 14, you may want to let us know about that one.
Yeah, a bit of a process. So Christoph explained nicely how we do the insetting. So in the end, how we do that exactly, there's a lot of reporting and the tools behind it. But in the end, it's about we are signing agreements with our carriers and fuel providers, also to use certified green fuels or technologies. And then you as a customer can book GoGreen Plus with a price premium. We will come to that in a second. There are different options. And then, we can implement that as soon as for the next month already. And then these premiums will be invested into climate smart transports and covering the carrier's extra costs. And in the end, you get a report about the CO2 reduction on a monthly level, depending on the amount you are investing, and also a yearly certificate will be issued. Handing over back to you, Christoph.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so to go again one level deeper, I mentioned already we have 1,500 trucks or green trucks in our fleet. We are also investing in our green infrastructure for charging, solar roof systems, and so on. All this, or especially the emission savings from the trucks, they allow us to feed into what we call an insetting pool that we manage. Yeah, so all the different green technologies like the renewable diesel, like battery electric vehicles, partly biogas, the savings generated here are listed and are in that pool. It includes trucks from multiple countries in our network. So currently we have that mainly from Sweden and Czech Republic, Germany, the Netherlands. It's externally verified by an independent body, obviously. And then we make these savings accessible to our pool of customers and shippers who want the service and who contribute here. And again, I think the service is really very, very important because we have this one atmosphere. Yeah, in the end, it doesn't matter whether it's the truck that is green who carries really my own shipments or whether it's the one going to the next city, as long as it's clear that I have this impact. And I think we need these kind of approaches also in the transportation and logistics industry in a quite pragmatic way. It's all against leading market standards, so verified by auditors, and following the Smart Freight Center framework for book and claim. Yeah, meaning that customers can trust this, but it makes decarbonization so much easier than going the dedicated solutions way and saying, I want this truck that goes from A to B to be an electric one. Oh, it goes 1,000 kilometers. That's difficult to implement. Oh, in that country I want to go to, there's no charging possibility yet, and so on. So from that perspective, we are very happy to be able to offer this. And just to finalize on that topic, we have different options to make it easy for customers, depending also on the budgets, on the needs. There's base, smart, and premium. So again, on a tank to wheel basis, you can choose whether you reduce emissions by 10% to start small, but start, or whether to go by 30%, which might be in line with the decarbonization target. Or even say for those shipments I'm booking, I want 100% decarbonization. Yeah, with the according features here that Antje mentioned, there's reporting and there's a certificate available. And yeah, to sum it up with GoGreen Plus, it allows to improve the carbon footprint. It's an easy service, so we take care of it. Can be booked by just like ticking the box for the shipments. You get your quote. It's the money is fully reinvested into the green technologies. Of course, also allowing to position oneself as a shipper, as green leader, with good impact on the reputation. And then you have the certificates and the carbon reporting that are externally verified. Yeah, handing back to Antje again on a summary.
Yeah, thanks, Christoph. So I think indeed a good possibility and a broad range of things that we offer. So I hope with that introductory call and that topic, you saw that we are actually having a clear strategy and roadmap in place also to support you to decarbonize. We already have a full range of technologies available today and can offer CO2 reduction, emission reduction already today with our GoGreen Plus product, and helping you to decarbonize road trace as easy as possible, as buying, for instance, green electricity. But there's also a possibility to do then a more dedicated solutions for you and your team. In the end, it's time for us now to act, and I think if we do that jointly, and I know that sometimes it's not easy, that journey. We have a lot of challenges here, but if you have in mind, I still have some money I want to spend on that topic, let us know. We find a way that you can invest into CO2 reduction already tomorrow, and then bring that to life together with you jointly. So thanks for joining our call, and I hope that there are some questions or comments in the chat, and we are happy to answer them. Hi, Melanie.
Hi. Indeed, there are, Antje. So there's a lot of questions that came in. Thanks, first of all, for the presentation to both of you. The first question to start with, what was the biggest achievement in terms of Go Green in the past years for DHL Freight?
Yeah, I must admit, I'm really proud about the big figure of low emission trucks already. Yeah, in the last year we achieved this year we achieved 1,500 low emission trucks, and it's really amazing to see that growth and that engagement in the countries. We have one nice customer contracts. We are working together with the customer, and for me it's really amazing to see the development in that topic. Yeah, really to bring those things to life and see that the customer is supporting that journey as well. And I know it's, as I said, sometimes not easy. We need to learn all about like the certificates and the audits and so on and so forth, but bringing that to life, it's really a great achievement. Yeah. Christoph, anything you have in mind, especially like any pilot topic or so?
You took it already away. So for me, it's really as you also said, the commitment of all our colleagues who contribute, right? So you try to drive this, of course, centrally from a global head office, but it will only work if it's put into practice, if it's implemented, and that's not what you can do out of an office. That's what you need to do locally. And yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have these 1,500 trucks if there were not hundreds literally of colleagues involved that support this and that also are behind it. And that's really, to me, the amazing thing.
So hello everyone. I think we have a technical problem here, so I'm stepping in. I was just clicking the slides, but now I'm here live on screen. Yes, so we have some other questions. Another question that came in is the question on there was actually a participant who said that we plan to start with scope 3 emissions inventory for 2025. Do all your branches in all countries, road freight included, can provide clients data for emissions accounting?
General answer is yes, it's centralized. So it's not looked at on a terminal or location level, but more on a shipment level. So everything that we transport in general, but also for a certain customer, is calculated in terms of footprint, and there's this carbon report that we are able to offer for all the shipments that we transport. Yeah. So the typical sales contact is, I think, the right one to ask for a carbon report, and then this can be set up and will also allow to understand what the current situation is and what can be done to reduce.
Thank you, Christoph. We have another question on the topic of feedstocks. Which feedstocks do you use for the HVO, Gen 1, Gen 2? And can the usage of only UCO as the HVO feedstock been discussed?
It's interesting that this question comes today, because just yesterday I contributed to a customer document that is going to be released relatively soon, in which we go on the details of the different feedstocks. I mean, first of all, we are not the producers of the HVO. We are getting it via the big companies that are offering it, and through the fueling stations that lots of our service partners, for example, use to fuel their trucks. So it's not all the same. It's definitely the modern feedstock. So mainly it's used cooking oil. And if there's a certain preference by a customer, for example, within our GoGreen Plus insetting service, to have it 100% based on used cooking oil feedstocks, this is possible on a mass balancing basis. So we would have that calculated and also verified by the auditors, so that the fuel allocated to a certain customer within this setup would be 100% a certain feedstock. Generally speaking, we are relying on the key fuels or feedstocks available in the market, which or to put it that way, we are going beyond the regulation, for example, of the European Union, which allows PFAD as a side product, or it not explicitly excludes this byproduct of palm oil production. Palm oil is excluded, at least in the European Union anyway, but the PFAD is generally not completely banned, while this is banned according to the DHL sustainable fuels policy. So we really go beyond the market standards there. We only use what is classified as waste. So used cooking oil is a big share, and then there's of course a few other feedstocks as well.
Thank you, Christoph. And now we have a question from France. To which extent does your technology roadmap change in terms of topics, time frame, and investments from one EU country to another?
It's the same one everywhere. So we have one common approach. I mean, of course, not each technology is as easy to implement in each market as in another one. That means that the weighting can be a bit different depending on the country. But also beyond EU countries, this is how we look at things.
Yeah, maybe to add here also, it's also like, as I said, a collaboration topic. So if we find a customer who is willing to do something and really support that journey in a country, we would also look a bit deeper. If we have like also some more investment money, then also building up infrastructure would be also much more easier if we win some big customers in that respect. And then, as Christoph said, sometimes some technologies are not possible to bring to life because you might not have like green electricity in Netherlands enough. That's why it's challenging to build up electrified trucks, and then you need to find other solutions. But that's a bit, we are pretty far ahead, I would say, in Sweden already with our colleagues there. They offer a lot of solutions already. We are also progressing nicely in the rest of Europe, but it's also depending on the money or the support we get from our customers for that topic. Yeah. If we now with that call win a lot of revenue with that respect, we can even accelerate that journey. That would be, of course, great.
Actually, this fits very well because we have a compliment here in our chat. Your clear decarbonization strategy, ambition, and actual cases are top of the range and will certainly drive your leadership in emission-reduced logistics even further. Thumbs up.
Thank you.
However, there was also a question from a business economics perspective. How about the fine balance between short-term OPEX increases due to pricier low-carbon fuels, SAF, HVO, and so on, and ongoing investments in fleets, infrastructure, compliance, etc.?
Yeah, that's a very important question. And of course, that's the question everybody has in the company, also given with the current market situation we are all in. I think it needs to go in balance. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to now just do HVO or SAF and really push that forward, because in the end we want to really get to zero emission. And I think technology behind is electrifying trucks. It's looking how we can get to that, and it will take time. That means we need to now invest into infrastructure, clarifying the energy sourcing, and then be ready to then also get on rolling with the electrified trucks. And but that is also a journey we need to do together with our automotive customers, for instance, yeah, they are producing a lot of electric vehicles already, and if we can do that together and build a bit of infrastructure left and right, it will be very helpful. And then we expect that the cost for a BEV truck will decrease in the future as well. So of course, now there are nice pilot cases you can jump into, because we also get nice offers for the OEMs, gets the amount reduction in Germany. There's also some support in other countries. So that's something, if you see also investment opportunities, let's do that. But it's a balance you need to play and really look into the TCO of the technologies and how the specific use case is looking like. For instance, also sourcing energy from solar panels and so on and so forth. So that is something we should always discuss with you, your customers. Yeah.
Thank you, Antje. There's another feedstock question, so I assume Christoph is the best one to answer that. Which feedstock do you use for the bio CNG in France?
Let me take that with me. We can hopefully answer it afterwards, perhaps one-on-one. Generally speaking, biogas is considered to be relatively environmentally friendly, or even more than other options, because there are no question marks regarding imports of feedstocks from other geographies or so. So typically it's being produced out of manure or agricultural waste, actually, that is put into a kind of reactor, where actually you can use then both the gas, either for heating or for transportation, but also what remains after this reaction process can be put back on the fields in a very good way. But I would have to check exactly on how the situation is in France. I don't want to tell something wrong here.
Thank you. Yeah, and then we have one last question regarding the reporting of CO2 emissions. For 2025, will you be in a position to provide audit-proof report on CO2 emissions per client? Will this report identify reductions led by DHL initiatives?
The short answer is yes. We are definitely able to provide the report. I mean, in the end, it depends on how to interpret it and what to do with it. If there's like the outcome, we have emissions of 200 tons. This does not yet mean you have done any improvement. So of course, in a discussion then with looking into the shipments, into the possibilities, then this is definitely the first step then to reduce the footprint also.
Yeah, and that won't be ready by end of this year, Christoph, right? We need to wait until the end of the year, and then we'll produce yearly reports beginning of next year. That we will have.
Of course, we need to wait until all shipments are delivered and in the system. So it makes sense to have it a couple of days after the end of the period. But usually, I mean, let's say towards the end of January, usually the full year reports 2025 are available.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I see we have Melanie back on the screen. So hopefully you're not frozen now. So up to my knowledge, these were all the questions. So we answered them all. So maybe some at the end of this webinar, some final words.
Yes, I would say thank you everyone for joining, and sorry for the small technical glitch. There's a few more questions that we had no time to answer, but we see you and we will reach out to you guys to answer also those, so no problem. And yeah, thanks for joining. There will be also an email afterwards with the presentation, or at least the recording and some more information. And yeah, I don't know, Antje, Christoph, if you have any more.
Yeah, big thank you also for your interest in that call. We, of course, it's the first call, I said, and we would like to make a series out of that. So please let us know when you receive the email what topics would be interesting for you, so that we can do a bit of a deep dive in certain things and really do a series out of that. But a big thank you from my end for attending the call. Handing over to Christoph.
Thank you from my side as well. For us, it was a lot of fun, very interesting, and of course, yeah, any feedback is very welcome. So looking forward to hearing from you and to enter a dialogue on how to decarbonize transportation together.
Wish you a great day. Bye bye.